to learn Spanish, I need to learn Spanish, I need to learn Spanish now. These boots are made for walking, that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk. Oh, sorry about that. I was thinking about stem changing verbs and I got a little out of control there. Stem changing verbs are also called boot verbs. So let's talk about them a little bit. So why are they called stem changing verbs? Why is their nickname boot verbs? Well, first we got to back up the truck a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so remember, an infinitive is a verb in its original form, and it can mean to whatever in English. So with a stem changing verb, we're taking that infinitive, the original form of the verb, and we are removing the ending. And of course, what we're left with is called the stem. And now we change the stem. So, we got to back up the truck again. Boop, 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 boop. So let's review our endings for regular AR verbs. Remember, we have o, as, a, amos, a, isan. And for regular ER verbs, o, es, e, amos, eis, en. And then for regular IR verbs, we have o, es, e, imos, is, en. Well, why are we reviewing those if these verbs aren't regular verbs? Well, the endings are the same as regular verb endings. So that should make it pretty easy, right? So let's continue on here and see, what do we do here? What is this change? Well, as we may have mentioned before, the change is in the stem. So we're removing the ending of AR, ER, or IR, depending on what type of a verb it is. So we're taking off that ending. And let's use the verb querer as an example here. So this particular stem changing verb is an E to IE stem changing verb. So we're taking off our ending, we're left with quer, Q-U-E-R, and we're changing that stem to Q-U-I-E-R. For these forms here, the yo form, the tu form, the ele usted form, and the ellos, ellas, and ustedes form. Now, notice they kind of form a boot, and that will become a little bit more obvious in just a moment. So these other two forms, the nosotros and the vosotros forms, they're not going to change. They're remaining as quer. So let's see what happens here. Ooh, look at this. Remember, we're adding our regular endings, o, es, e, amos, eis, en, because this is an ER verb. And now you can see that the forms that have the stem change kind of form a boot. Can you see that? Yeah, they are called boot verbs. Okay, so now it's starting to make some sense, right? Okay, so here we have another type of a stem changer. This is the verb poder. Okay, this is an O to UE boot verb. So we're taking off the ending, we're left with bod, we're changing it to puede. We have that change in each one of the forms that forms the boot. We're keeping the stem the same in the forms that are not forming the boot. And here we have another one. Oh my goodness, dormir, to sleep. This is an O to UE stem changer. Same thing happens again. We have that stem change in the forms that come into a boot. We don't change it in the nosotros and the vosotros forms, right? Okay, here's yet another one. U to UE, the verb jugar. The jug changes to jueg, okay? In those boot forms only, right? And then here's another one. An E to I stem changing verb, servir. So ser becomes sirv. So there are a few examples for you. Don't forget, the endings remain the same, but the change is in the stem. Okay, so let's see what you can do. Let's give it a try here. Susana y Miguel blank pizza. Okay, so let's think about it. Ooh, that's in one of the boot forms, that ellos, ellos, ustedes form. Yes, there's a stem change. We have our regular ending of en, and we have Susana y Miguel quieren pizza. Katrina blank nadar bien. We have our verb poder. Katrina puede nadar bien. Katrina can swim well. All right, so let's try this one. Yo no blank mucho. Oh, don't you hate nights like that? Yo no duermo mucho. I don't sleep much. And then we have mis amigos y yo. We're using that verb jugar. Now, this is a stem changer, but there's no change to this stem. And why is that? Well, because it's in the nosotros form, and that's not part of the boot forms. Okay, here's one more. El camarero. What form of servir will we use here? El camarero sirve la cena. Muy bien. Good. So you might wonder, how do I know if a verb is a stem changing verb or not? Well, you just have to memorize it. There's no real way of telling just by looking at a verb when you're first learning it. So you have to memorize the verb itself and its meaning, and the fact that it is a stem changing verb and what type of a stem changing verb it is. These boots are made for walking. I just will do. Woohoo! I need to learn Spanish. I need to learn Spanish. I need to learn Spanish now. Meow. Gotta go.